Hey Eurovision fans, Tommy Cash will represent Estonia in Eurovision 2025 with his song Espresso Macchiato. I'm going to listen back to the live performance, give you my analysis of the song, the artist and the staging, talk about if this can qualify and what it could do for Estonia in the final. So let's geeky. My name is Tom, I'm an Irish Eurovision analyst and you can find all of this stuff on my Eurovision channel. So if you want to see my very first reaction to the song, I've already done a video where I reacted to his little teaser video where he is sitting drinking a Espresso Macchiato, which was an homage to Andy Warhol, who did Eating a Burger. To summarize that video, I thought that the song was kind of interesting, a little bit catchy, and I was really intrigued by the visual performance and was really excited to see what he was going to do live on the Eesti Laul stage. Let's talk a tiny bit about Eesti Laul. I thought it was a really weak year for me this year. I only had one download, which was And Tomorrow Never Comes. So download wise, it was a little bit disappointing for me, but I did think there were some interesting entries, and actually the final Eesti Laul show was pretty good. Eesti Laul continues to have this 3-person super final, which I have to admit I'm not a big fan of, because I do think sometimes it can just be a little bit of luck. If you get 2 rock songs and a pop song, the pop song has a huge advantage just by virtue of the genre of the other songs in with it. That wasn't an issue this year. Tommy Cash got 83% of the televote in the super final. It doesn't matter who he would have been up against. Let's find out a little bit about Tommy Cash. His name is Tomas Tamamets. He's 33 years old from Tallinn, and he's got a couple of connections to the contest. So he's friends with Kari, who you may have seen at the Eesti Laul final. He also wrote the song with Johannes Nokorinen, who wrote Cha Cha Cha, and also wrote Puppy this year, which was disqualified from UMK. So his relationship with Kari, they did a song together. It's crazy, it's party. I think he's got a relationship with Joost as well. And he's had cameos with Charlie XCX as well. I think he's pretty much Estonia's biggest musical artist. Correct me if I'm wrong if there's someone bigger. I think like objectively Spotify wise, he is the #1. So there's a huge amount of hype and excitement this year when he announced that he was entering in a song. So this kind of felt like his to lose. I think the only possible way that he would have lost would have been if the jury had tanked him, but they didn't actually put him first, which we'll talk about a little bit later when I talk about how this can do in the Eurovision final. Other than music, he's known for his artistry. He's big into fashion. He has a whole section of his Wikipedia page dedicated to the stunts that he does at fashion shows. There's like years and years of him attending like the biggest fashion shows in Paris and Milan, doing these very elaborate stunts. He does performance art. He does visual art. He's like a very all-around artistic person. He's also pretty known for his daring music videos. You should go check out Unz Unz. Don't watch it with your mother. There's a clean version and an unclean version, but yes, it's a very intense music video. He can be extremely naughty when he wants to be. Okay, so I'm going to be reacting to the national final performance today. I have watched it because I watched Eesti Laul today. I will leave as much of the original audio and visuals in as possible. In fairness to him, he actually removed the copyright from that reaction video that I put up, so I think he's pretty chill in general with copyright. I'm going to find out when I upload the video. If I do need to make any changes, I'll put the original up onto my Patreon. I'm going to be focusing more on the performance, staging, lighting, concept, costumes, and vocals. Want to know my sticker bang? It's an interesting beginning. He's got the lights behind him giving the silhouette, hand on the hip, drinking the coffee. Nice little melody on a guitar there, kind of creating some intrigue. And you can see Tommy written on the cup. I think that casuals watching this for the first time are going to be intrigued. This man dressed in a suit, making love to a visual love to a cup with an I love Eurovision tag. Now he's a dancer as well. You can see this kind of like crumping, popping style of dance. I think this is going to grab people's attention at the start. They're going to be curious about it. His dancing is actually quite good. It's like technically difficult. Okay, and here comes another coffee. There's elements of it which do feel a little bit Broadway, the kind of instrumentation. And with the story of this guy with a long tie and the security man. Vocals aren't super strong, but it's always going to be a visual performance. And we're getting quirkiness here with this kind of like Broadway style dancing. And we're getting into the Jesus. I have to admit, the first time I watched this, it did make me laugh a couple of times. I like that popping end. That's a little bit of a Eurovision classic. And this is great, getting the security men to dance. There are humorous elements to this. Yeah, and it's got a good beat as well, nice thick thumpy beat coming in, well produced. And you can see Karish in the crowd for him. Okay, he's doing a couple of characters mannerisms now. I wonder, could that irk a few people? Yeah, the storyline is him being protected from the security. It's not super clear what's going through the whole thing. It doesn't feel like there's a beginning, middle, and end. Okay, one of them breaking character. Cutting to the crowd, I don't know if it's the best idea. They're a little bit flat. They're a little bit of a flat white. But it gives them time to do the car thing. Yeah, there's some fun elements to going back into kind of like the Jesus pose again. I'm very curious to see how casuals are going to react to it. It feels a big unknown to me.
Espresso Macchiato.
And into the end and into the post. This performance for me, okay, I have to admit I was a little bit disappointed the first time I saw it because I had like really, really high expectations. This was the music video for Uns Uns. I felt like the music video he put out where he was drinking the macchiato, which was the homage to Andy Warhol, was like a real appetizer. The staging didn't really deliver for me. I was a little bit underwhelmed. There's some moments I like when he goes into the dancing at the start. I think that looks cool. I think it's going to grab people's attention. The security guard storyline I don't find particularly thrilling. These security guards who do a little bit of dancing, you know, they appear hard at the start and then they're a little bit softer. But I wasn't not really getting like what the storyline is. Like, why is he a businessman? Why does he have security? I kind of assumed that Tommy was going to have a little bit more of a storyline, more references to art, but I'm not getting that. The storyline for me is just a little bit basic. It's not super big. It's not super wow. You know, this isn't his final package, and I'm really hopeful that this is his Eesti Laul performance. He knew that he was going to win, and then he had planned something bigger for Eurovision. If this is his Eurovision performance, oh, you can color me disappointed, because this is just nowhere near as big and grandiose and daring and naughty as I was hoping for. I thought he was really going to push the envelope and make a lot of artistic references and do something really like shocking and daring, and I just didn't get that from this. Part of that is due to my expectations, which is a really, really important point to make, because people, casuals watching at home, have zero expectations. No idea who this person is, no idea what the song is or anything. So I wonder, is this the type of thing that casuals are going to watch, find really funny, find really different? I don't know. I don't really know any people who don't love Eurovision, so I can't really like test this on anybody, but I'd be really curious to see like a focus group. How do they react to this? Me personally, I was expecting so much bigger, something as big as Carrie. I have to admit, even Joost last year, I don't felt delivered the bigness. In fairness, he did hype it up. He said it was going to be like this big show of something we'd never seen before. And in the end, actually, it was kind of like pretty standard. Yeah, I understand if Tommy wants to do his own thing and not copy Carrie and not go like big crazy with a big green blower, and he wants to do something a little bit more subdued and artistic, but then I'd like to see a little bit more storyline if he's going to do that, if there's less of a focus on big bam blow explosions. He's got this huge reference bank, fashion, art, everything. I want him to tap into that and just, I want to see Easter eggs throughout. And I want to understand the storyline more. I don't really get the storyline yet. And maybe that could be on me, but I just think he should spell out a little bit more obviously. I wouldn't say this is a total disaster, but staging wise, my expectations were super, super high. I think it meant maybe like 50% of it. I would almost say start from scratch. I would say dump all of it, start all over again, pick someone to work with. And I want to just be a little bit more risky and daring. I'm not getting any risk in this. It made me laugh a couple of times, but yeah, there were other parts where it's just kind of like, I don't get what's going on. When I compare this to Uns Uns, the music video, it just seems so tame. It seems too watered down to me. And obviously he can't do what's in the Uns Uns music video. Obviously, that's really, really intense. I would like to see him push the envelope more. Like, I even think at this point, Kant from Mariana is pushing the envelope more than he is at this point in time. I want him to be the number one for riskiness and dariness in Eurovision 2025, and I think that Erica and Mariana are ahead of him right now. Vocally, he's not super strong. He's totally relying on the visuals and the humor, I think. So even more reason why I think those need to be stronger. I like a little bit more campness in it, a little bit more Eurovision drama, some sort of reveal. I would like to feel a slight homage to Eurovision as well. Like, I think he's a bit of a fan, so I'd like to see him lovingly take the piss out of the contest a little bit. This has so much scope for improvement for me. I really hope that he works on this. We'll talk about it later, but I don't think this is even remotely close to being into the conversation for winning at all, and I felt that it should have been. Anyway, let's focus a little bit on the song. So it's obviously in English and Italian. I have seen some Italians complaining about this. They find it is offensive. I've also seen non-Italians who are offended on the behalf of Italians. The song, I think, is kind of catchy. I didn't download it, but I did notice that after I did my reaction, I had it in my head for a couple of days, which is pretty important for a Eurovision semi-final performance. Yeah, so I'm going to be really interested to see how the Italian press reacts to this song. What is the reaction going to be from Italians? Is this going to get 12? Keep in mind, you can only vote for songs you can't vote against. It might piss off some people, but the people that doesn't piss off can vote for him. I'm curious to see what broader Italian population is going to think. Song-wise, though, this is not a Eurovision winning song for me. I do think that it would need like an absolutely mind-bending staging to even bring it up into that conversation, because Cha Cha Cha, Baby Lasagna, Europapa, and Rimtum Tagidin were, I think, much stronger songs, catchier, had more commercial appeal. I find it hard to really like this song without the visuals. Okay, so do I think this is going to qualify from the first half of the first semi-final? At this point in time, I would assume yes. Like, this is very much a televote focused song. Feel like I should be going in saying it's a 100% yes. I don't feel like I'm like that because I feel the staging is it's just not really there yet. But I think that if he elevates and makes it more risky and daring, this should be a 100% yes. He's no Finland, which definitely would help. It would have been an automatic 12 from Finland. Italy is voting in the semi-final. Like I said, how are they going to react to this? It only matters which people like it as opposed to which people don't. If you ask me now, yes or no is it qualifying, I would say yes, but I think it should be a safer yes. Estonia have qualified 5 of the last 6 years, so they've got a pretty good pedigree at being able to deliver at the final stage and get the job done. You know, Estonia have been top 20 in 5 of the last 6 contests and top 13 in 3 of them, but they haven't broken the top 7 since 2015. So I actually think this is what Estonia needs in their life. They're really super consistent. They do extremely well for a country that only has 1.3 million, having probably the best national final for such a small country consistently. But yeah, they're not pushing into that conversation to be the Eurovision winner. So I think this is the best decision for them this year, to experiment, send someone who's really, really established, really daring, is going to have the budget and the artistic support behind them to put forward something that could be competitive. I think Estonia made the right decision, and I do think that they need to start taking more risks if they want to push into those winning positions and try and get their first win since 2001. You know, they haven't been top 3 since they hosted in 2002. So been a long time. 6th place in 2009 with Urban Symphony, 6th place in 2012 with Otlep and Kula, 2015 Goodbye to Yesterday 7th, and then Elena Nicheva and Alika 8th and 8th. Really long time since they've been in the top 5. I think that they should go all in, make or break. If it doesn't work, doesn't matter. They've tried. Yeah, I think Estonia needs to take a risk. Okay, so if this qualifies for the Eurovision final, what could it do? Okay, so let's talk about the jury first. I think before Eesti Laul happened, I would have said that the jury would have bombed this. I was really surprised by how actually the jury put this number 1. Now, I'm not sure if that's because of Tommy Cash's brand name. I think half the jury is Estonian and half of them are foreign, or if jurors genuinely love this. I'm not sure. And we're going to have to wait until Eurovision final to see what do the jury actually think about this. But in reflection, I'm wondering, was that performance he gave in Eesti Laul much, much safer because he was thinking of the jury? The jury slipped up Karja. The jury were not particularly nice to Joost either. I think he got around 58 points. Maybe Tommy Cash is looking at those two and saying, I need to start with a jury-friendly performance right from the start. Maybe that's why it's safer and a little bit more watered down. I don't know, but I was surprised by how well this did with the jury. If that is part of his thought process and strategy, then maybe this could actually do okay with the jury in the Eurovision final. I still think that a song with no humour, that's got much bigger, strong vocals, is just automatically going to have an easier time pleasing the jury, because that's the type of stuff that they love. I don't know if it's worth watering down the performance to try and appease the jury when he could just go full in on televote instead and just get a gigantic televote score, probably not win, but at least he'll get loads of new fans. And, you know, winning the televote is very, very exciting trophy to bring back to your country. So speaking of the televote, this is the televote friendly song. Again, before Eesti Laul, I would have said this would win the televote. I'm not feeling that anymore. I look at something like Erika Wigman and I think it's just much more daring and wild and entertaining. I think he needs to just turn the dial up to maximum if he wants to be a competitor to win the televote like Käärijä. I think Joost possibly would have won the televote as well. Yeah, me personally, I would say F the jury. Go full televote. Usually if you start going up the rankings, you got a good televote anyway. The jury are so spineless that some of them will just rank you up higher because they want to associate with something that's commercially successful. So I think one follows the other. I would just go for massive televote appeal. That means you're going to qualify easily as well. Okay, let's have a look at the Eurovision odds, and we can see that this is still sitting in 7th, which is not surprising at all considering that it was in 7th because of Tommy Cash. Yeah, you wouldn't expect it to move up or down because people were pretty much betting based on him. Let's have a look and see how this is doing in the community. Prepare yourself for this. So this is currently sitting in 13th place. Now, I've already seen that this is very, very unpopular on Twitter. There does tend to be this trend in recent years of portions of the Eurovision community latching on to a villain for each season. 2023, it was absolutely Käärijä, calling him a green goblin, a green monster. Last year, it was to a lesser extent Joost and a tiny bit Baby Lasagna as well. This year, it seems like the villain is going to be Tommy Cash, and there are going to be certain people in the community who are going to absolutely and utterly focus their vitriol for the whole season on him. You know, they're kind of mates as well. Joost, Käärijä, and Tommy Cash are all friends. I'm sure that he was pre-warned about this before he entered. Yeah, I'm not a fan of that personally. I think that I have songs that I don't like every year. I just ignore them. But there are some people in the community who, instead of just ignoring it, will put extra focus on it instead of just focusing on the songs that they love. Yeah, 13th in the Eurovision scoreboard is really, really low. Generally, the Eurovision scoreboard doesn't appreciate men as much, and it's not a huge fan of humor either. And it's not a fan of male humor. Female humor is okay. We're seeing that Malta's in 4th place right now. But yeah, like at the end of the day, Eurovision scoreboard doesn't really matter. It's what the casual people think. So that should be his focus. But yes, if you're a Tommy Cash fan, you need to prepare yourself for 3 months of pretty non-stop bashing. Unless someone who this part of the community they think is even worse comes. Okay, that's what I thought about Tommy Cash singing Espresso Macchiato. What did you think? Leave me a comment in the comment section down below. Very curious to see what your thoughts about the performance was, particularly if you had no expectations going into watching the Eesti Laul final. If you somehow had never heard about Tommy Cash, leave me a comment down below. Thank you to everyone who's been supporting me on PayPal and Buy Me Coffee. If you want to support the channel, I'll leave a QR code for you here. And of course, thank you to my wonderful patrons for patronizing me from all around the world. On my Patreon, you can get the original audio, you can get early releases, you can be in the credits, you can support the channel. Go check it out if you're a fan. But of course, thank you so much just for being here, and I hope to see you in another Eurovision analysis video very, 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 very. Look what my hands are doing. This is something new because no one watches the end of the video, so I can do whatever I want. Goodbye.